Hi everybody, this is Mr. Tad at Asbury Church, Kids Church Online. Hey, thanks for joining us today. We've got some things that are going to be pretty cool to hear about, and we'll be talking about that a little bit. But right now, I have a question. How many of you like rules? How many of you like when there's a bedtime and you have to go to bed at a certain time? Or maybe, back when you're doing school, you had your homework. How many of you just love doing that? Especially when it's a rule that you do it. Let's say right after school you come home and you're supposed to do your homework. Okay? How many of you like that? Okay? And what about all the can'ts? Like, you can't have as much candy as you want. You can't have dessert as often as you want. You can't play your video games as much as you want. How many of you like all those rules? Yeah, I get it. I get it. There's even rules for adults. Like when we're driving our car, we have to drive on the right side of the street, right? That's a rule. Now, you may not think about it, but think about it. If all the cars went like this, but they didn't pay attention to staying on their side, they'd run into each other, wouldn't they? So I guess there's probably reasons for rules. Anyway, well, today we are talking about Moses one last time, and this is going to be cool for you. But before I do that, you'll notice I have my shirt on, and it says Bolt VBS, and Vacation Bible School is coming up starting tomorrow. And so it's going to be tomorrow, Monday, and then Tuesday, and then Wednesday. And all you have to do is go to asburycc.org. That's our church website. And then you just sign up. We'll send you a password so that you can get on it each day. And we are going to have so much fun. I mean, it's going to be kind of like normal VBS, only it's going to be online. And so we're still going to do craft stuff. We're still going to do games. We're still going to have cool music, our oldies but goodies. And we're still going to have great Bible lessons. And all of that, the difference is it'll be online. And so I hope that you will invite your friends. We have some kids that are going to be part of this that are from London. We have some people from back east. We have some people even from California, not just Texas or Corpus Christi where we are, but we can have people from all over. So think about those that you can invite to be part of our VBS, and we're going to have a blast, and that starts tomorrow. You can watch it anytime you want to tomorrow, and or on Tuesday or on Wednesday. All right. Okay, well, we're going to have a song from Yancey, and it's called I Want to Be Like Jesus, and I'll see you in a little bit.
Jesus is my hero. Jesus is my friend. He made a difference in the world, and I wanna be like him.
All right, we've been talking about Moses for the last couple of weeks, and we will talk again one more time today. Now, if we think back to some of the things that we've talked about, or some of those things that maybe you didn't get to see the last couple of weeks, we know that we kind of start in with the story of Moses as a tiny baby, and the Pharaoh wanted to kill the little boys, and so the baby boys, and so his mom and sister put him in this basket, and they made it so it wouldn't sink, and they floated it down the river, and then his sister Miriam hid behind the bushes along the river and watched out for him. Well, guess who ends up getting the baby? It's the Pharaoh's daughter, the princess. She ends up falling in love with little Moses, and she ends up raising him, so he ends up being raised in the palace, even though he's an Israelite and they are Egyptians. And so time goes on, he grows up, he realizes the difference, and he eventually ends up leaving that area and going out to Midian, where he stayed. He met some people out there that took care of sheep, and he ended up living out there about 40 some years. And there he met his wife and had children, and he also became close to God while he was out there. And so he learned a lot. Well, one day he was out, and he was taking care of sheep, and there was the burning bush, the bush that didn't burn up. And it talked back to him. God spoke through that burning bush. And God told him that he had heard the prayers of the Israelites, because see, they've been slaves for years and years and years. And he heard them, and he wanted Moses to go back to Egypt, to the Pharaoh, and say, "Let my people go." And so Moses ends up doing that, but each time the Pharaoh just has a hard heart, and so there's a consequence, and so there's a plague. And a plague is just something bad that happens. And so the coronavirus, I guess in some ways could be considered a plague in some ways, but there were creepy things that happened, like the water turned to blood, and then there were frogs all over the place, and then there were gnats, and then there was darkness, and the last one, there's 10 of them altogether, and the last one was the oldest born child ended up dying in each family, except for the Israelites, because God had told them, if you put some lamb's blood or goat's blood over the top of your door and down the sides, your children won't die, and also your animals won't die. So anyway, that's kind of what happened, and so finally the Pharaoh says, "You can go, leave." And so they all pack up, and there's over 1 million of these people. And they all pack up and they leave, and then they come to the Red Sea, and they are stuck. Because Pharaoh changed his mind, and his army's chasing after him on this side, and the Red Sea's on this side. But God told Moses to raise his staff, and the water parted, and the people walked right through the middle on dry ground, and they got onto the other side. And so that is our review. That's what we've talked about up to this point. And so today we are going to be talking about what happened from there. Okay, so they are traveling in the desert, and they've traveled, and they're hungry. And they're thirsty because, the desert's hot and dry. And so they end up complaining and fussing to Moses. And Moses talks to God, and God does some amazing things. One of the things he did was, each morning when they woke up, they could go out, and there would be these little things that looked like frost on the ground. And actually, they could pick them up And they were like little wafers that tasted like honey. It was kind of bread. And so they had that for every morning when they went. But there was a rule: they could only take just what they needed for the day, or else it would spoil. And then on Saturdays, they could take twice as much, because Sunday was the rest day, the day of Sabbath. So they could take twice as much on Saturday, but the rest of the time, and otherwise it would spoil. The other thing is, every evening there would be quail that would come and land all over, and the quail is little birds, and they use that for their dinners. And then they're thirsty. So one time they were by some water, and it was bad to drink. And God told Moses to throw his staff in there, his long stick thing, and the water turned sweet, and they had water. And then another time, Moses took his staff, and God said, "Hit that rock," and water came right out of the rock, which to me would be amazing. So anyway, God took care of them as they were traveling along, and then they eventually came to a huge mountain, and it was Mount Sinai, and they camped at the bottom of the mountain. Well, God told Moses to go up the mountain. So the people are down at the bottom of the mountain, and they're hanging out, and God is still taking care of them, and Aaron is in charge. Aaron was Moses' brother, and he was in charge. In fact, he helped with all the plagues. He would do a lot of the talking for Moses. And so he's there with the people, and Moses goes up the mountain, and he talks with God. And God tells him some important things. The things he tells God are rules, which we call today the 10 Commandments. And so the rules are God etches them on stone, and he makes them into 2 big tablets that Moses eventually carries down the mountain. And so there were the 10 Commandments. And so let's talk about that. Let's talk about what were those 10 Commandments. And so I have some finger motions, and you guys try to do it with me. Get your fingers out now. Get all 10 fingers out. Good. All right. And so each finger is going to be a commandment. So the first one is one God. Okay? One God. Come on, do it with me. One God. Okay, then you take your second finger and you bend it, and that means no idols. So in other words, we don't worship anything other than God, the one true God. And so we don't worship these pyramids, and we don't worship those mountains or those clouds. We don't worship anything but the one true God. Okay? And the next one is no cussing. Okay? No cussing. We do not say God or Jesus in cuss words. In fact, we shouldn't be saying cuss words at all. There's a lot better words to be using than cuss words. Okay? So no cussing. Okay, 4. On 4, God says to rest on the Sabbath. So pretend like you take your 4 fingers and your thumb is right there, and so you rest. And that is called the Sabbath. We consider the Sabbath a Sunday, and that is the day that we should take time aside to spend extra time with God and also resting, because the other 6 days we're working. Okay? And then on 5, it is honor your father and mother. So if you take your hand and you go like this, spank, 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 that is, remember, we honor our father and mother. In fact, there's a promise with that, and that is that God will honor us and bless us when we honor our parents or whoever it is that takes care of us. Okay? And then on 6, take one finger, take your other 5, so that adds up to 6, and no killing, okay? No killing, all right? So that's not too hard to do. Okay, and then get your 7 fingers out, and this is no adultery. And adultery is when you're married and you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, and you shouldn't, because you're already married. You shouldn't have another person. So that's called adultery. So we just, that is God's rule. Okay, now take your 5 fingers, take 3 more, or actually take your thumb and 2 fingers, and turn your hand, and no stealing, okay? This is like you're taking something. No stealing. All right? Now, get your 9 fingers out, okay? Do you notice that there's 5 over here, but only 4 over here? All right, we do not lie. Whoops, we do not lie. So, if this were the truth, this comes short of the truth because there's not as many, and that would be like lying. So we do not lie. And hopefully these finger motions will help you to remember. And then take all 10 fingers. All right, all 10. Hang in here. All 10 fingers. And that is no gimme, 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 gimme. Okay, and what that's meaning is we do not covet other people's things. So for example, if my neighbor has a beautiful car and I think it is wonderful, and all I can think about is I want that car. Or maybe you might be thinking about a video game that your friend has or something. And instead of thinking about going to get your own from the store, you want your friend's video game. And if you think about that very hard, that might even prompt you to do some other things wrong, break commandments or sin, and like maybe you would take that. And what would that be? You're right, stealing. And then and then maybe someone would ask you, hey, do you know where the video game is? And you say, oh, I don't know where it is. Now, what commandment would that be? Lying. That's right. So some of these sins, some of these commandments all of these commandments are to help us so that we don't do sin, the things that make God sad or mad. All right? Okay. When you sum all this up, there's a couple Bible verses in the Bible, and the first one that we're going to read, really short, is Deuteronomy 6:5. And it says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your strength. Okay, that's Deuteronomy 6:5. Let me read that one more time. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your strength. Okay, and then in another book that's close to the beginning of the Bible is Leviticus. And this is chapter 19, Leviticus. That's a long name, isn't it? Chapter 19, verse 18. And it says, love your neighbor as you love yourself. So if you take those two verses, one is about loving God and one is about loving your neighbor. Okay? In fact, the first 4 commandments are about loving God, and then the last 6 commandments are about loving other people. Okay? So that's pretty cool. And we actually have a song that is, the name of it is Love the Lord. And so if it all works right, we're going to have a video for you to watch that. All right? I'll see you in a little bit.
Okay, now we're going to do the hand motions for Love the Lord. This is a great song, and we use a little bit of sign language, so I'm going to teach you those right now. It says love. A lot of people know this one. Love the Lord your God. I'm not going to do every single word. I'll just do a few words. Love the Lord your God with all your heart. Use your middle fingers and go over your heart in heart shape. So love the Lord your God with all your heart. With all your soul, you're going to kind of make a cup around your heart, and then you're going to come out with this is what we call an F, and you're going to come out and you're going to kind of pull your soul out, okay? So love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, just point your mind, and with all your strength. You're going to come from both your shoulders and you're going to come out and make muscles, okay? So strength. So heart, soul, mind, and strength. That's a lot of what we do. Then the second thing that you need to know is serve. Serve is your palms up, and you're just going to kind of go back and forth with each one. So serve the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, with all your strength. There is the echo part. It says I, so you just point yourself. I will. It's just a flat hand that comes out from your shoulder. I will love you. I will praise you. And that's just a kind of clap, but you don't need to make the clapping sound. Deaf people can't hear. Okay, so I will praise you. I will serve. We did this one earlier. Serve you. And then I will, this is the new one, trust. Point at your head and come down. You're going to make the left hand a fist, and you're going to come down on top of that with another fist. It's like you really believe, you trust that. Okay, so I will trust you. A lot of this is repetitive and you'll catch on. It's really easy. Let's try it out.
Ba-da-dum, 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 oh yeah. Ba-da-dum, 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 oh yeah. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and with all of your strength. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and with all of your strength. With all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, with all your strength. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and with all of your strength. I will love you. Da-da-dum, ba-da-dum, 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 oh yeah. I will serve the Lord with all my heart, with all my soul, with all my mind, and with all of my strength. Whoa, I will serve the Lord with all my heart, with all my soul, with all my mind, and with all of my strength. With all my heart, with all my soul, with all my mind, with all my strength. I will serve the Lord with all my heart, with all my soul, with all my mind, and with all of my strength. I will love you. I will love you. And I will praise you. I will praise you. And I will serve you. I will serve you. And I will trust you, Lord. With all my heart, with all my soul, with all my mind, with all my strength, with all my heart, with all my soul, with all my mind, oh, with all my strength, yeah. I will love you, Lord, with all my heart, with all my soul, with all my mind, and with all my strength. I will love you, Lord, with all my heart, with all my soul, with all my mind, and with all my strength. I will love you, and I will serve you, and I will praise you for all my days. I will love you, whoa, whoa, I will love you, yes, I will love you. I will love you, Lord, with all my heart, with all my soul, with all my mind, and with all my strength.
All right, welcome back. Did you learn that? Can you remember those motions? I think that's good. That's a great song that you can sing, and it's pretty simple too. So, okay, the rest of the story. Okay, the story continues with Moses, if you can believe it. All right, Moses is up on that mountain, and he's been there a long, long time. Okay, he's talked to God, and God, he's been gone away from all those people at the bottom of the mountain. And the people are getting restless. And they can't see God. We can't see God, but we can see things that God, evidence of God, like we can't see wind, for example, but we can see a tree and its leaves blowing, and we know that the wind is blowing that. Well, that's kind of like God. We can see things God's made, and even if we think about our own bodies, God has made amazing things. And so we can't see God, but we know He is there. Well, the Israelites were getting restless, and they were, they couldn't see God, so they wanted something to worship. And so they built a great big golden calf. Okay, a calf, a baby cow. And they made this golden calf. Actually, a lot of people had gold, so they melted the gold down and put it over the top of this statue thing, and then they just kind of went crazy. They were singing and dancing and doing all these things. But think about that for a minute. Do you think that's okay with God? Why wouldn't it be okay with God? Yes, you're right. Yes, it's not okay, because if we remember, commandment number 2 was do not worship idols. And that cow ended up being an idol because they were worshiping it as if it was God. Now, who makes cows? Who makes calves? God does. So why would we worship something that is made by God instead of worshiping the one true God? Okay, so anyway, that was going on. And while Moses was up on the mountain, God told him, the people are sinning, they're doing things, they're doing wrong things, and you need to go down the mountain. So Moses takes the big tablets that have all the 10 commandments on it, and he goes down, and when he sees what they're doing, he is so frustrated. He becomes very angry because of all this that's going on. And seeing that golden calf, he knew that is wrong. And he ended up throwing those tablets that had the 10 commandments, and they broke all to pieces. And he stopped the people, and he explained to them what they were doing and why it was wrong. And he said, if you want to follow the one true God, I want you to come over here and stand with me. And the people did. They realized what they had done wrong, and they stopped. And actually, the golden calf was destroyed, and they no longer worshipped that golden calf. So anyway, Moses talks to them, and they agree. So then, as time goes on, they continue to travel because, see, God had made a promise to them. He had made a promise that they would have a special land, the land of milk and honey. And if you can think back way back in Bible times, when they didn't have refrigerators, they didn't have grocery stores, they didn't have anything, that these things sounded very, very good to them. And so they continued to travel. The only thing that happened that was a little sad was they ended up traveling for 40 years. That's a long time. For 40 years. And God punished them because of the things they had done wrong. And so they took a long, long time, a lot longer than it should have taken. But they eventually got to the promised land, and God's promise to them was fulfilled. And they did get to the land of milk and honey. And so time went on, and they grew. They did have battles on their way getting there with different groups, but God did bless them. He kept His promise, And that was great. And we're so excited about that. Let's go over those 10 commandments real fast one more time. Okay, get ready. Okay, let's go. One God, no idols, no cussing, no rest on the Sabbath. Honor your father and mother, number 5. Number 6, no killing. Number 7, no adultery, no kissy with other people, okay? And then you have this, no stealing, okay? That's 8 fingers. And then 9 fingers, this does not equal this. No lying, okay? We want to tell the truth. And actually, guys, it works out a lot better if you do tell the truth. Because if you tell a lie, and yes, maybe your parents or whoever's taking care of you might get mad at the moment, but they're going to get way madder if they find out that you lied, and then they find out. Oh my goodness, they get a lot madder when you do that, and there's a lot bigger consequences. But if you tell the truth about something that you did that you shouldn't have done, which let's try to not do that, but if you do, own up to it, and I know that your parents will take that a lot better. Okay, don't forget that one. Okay, and then 10, and the 10 is no gimme, okay? No gimme, which means you want something that belongs to somebody else. You don't want to go get your own. You want their thing, okay? So that's our 10 commandments, and hopefully you'll remember those things. And I had a lot to tell you today. I want to thank you for that, for listening. And let's take a moment and let's bow our heads and let's talk to God. God, we thank you that you are a God who keeps your promises. We thank you that you love us so much, that you always want the best for us. We thank you that you are with us. We never have to worry that we're alone because you're always with us. And we thank you for that. We also, Lord, thank you for your Bible, which tells us so many things, that helps us learn lessons, that help us in our own lives. And we thank you for that, Lord, because we know that there's stories in there that tell us things that we shouldn't ever do, and then there's stories in there that tell us things that we should be doing. So we thank you for your word, the Bible. And most of all, thank you for loving us. In this we pray, and everyone said, amen. Good. All right. Well, let's talk about a couple more things. What is our takeaway from this? Okay, we've learned all these different things. Do you think that rules, there's a reason for rules? You may want to say no, but there are. There's always a reason for rules, because rules help us not to do the wrong things that then create trouble, either for ourselves or for someone else. Rules keep us safe, and rules are important. I know we don't always want to follow them, but we really need to. It's the best way. And there's a little saying that I want you guys to repeat after me. I'll say it first, and then we'll do the repeating. I will obey God's rules even when the world says I don't have to. All right? Okay, let's say that together. I'll say a little bit of it, and then you copy me. I will obey God's rules. Okay, your turn. I will obey God's rules. Good. Even when the world, okay, your turn. Even when the world says I don't have to. Your turn. Says I don't have to. Okay? Okay, one more time. Let's do it together. I will obey God's rules even when the world says I don't have to. Because that's the best. And guys, we have a God that loves us so much that he sent Jesus to come and live and then eventually die, to pay the price for the things we do wrong, and then come alive on the third day. God loves us so much that, I don't know about you, but I would never want to do things that make God sad or mad. I would want to try to live a life that is pleasing, and things like the 10 Commandments help us to know what is pleasing to God. So be remembering those things, and if you want to read it for yourself, you can go to the Bible, go to the second book of the Bible, which is Exodus. The book of Exodus, that's the whole part about Moses and leaving Egypt, and Exodus 20, okay? The Exodus and then the big number 20 will give you the 10 Commandments, okay? I kind of did it in a fun way. There's a lot more words if you read it, but go to Exodus 20 in your Bible, find it, and read through that, and that'll give you a better idea of what God was meaning. All right, you guys have been awesome, and I want to thank you for that. And I have a little fun thing for you to do, and then I'll tell you just a couple more things afterwards. Okay guys, just a couple more things I want to tell you about, and one of those is that starting tomorrow, remember, I told you already, starting tomorrow is VBS, Bolt VBS, okay? And go to asburycc.org to sign up, and then we will send you a password, so then you can see what the whole VBS is about, and it's going to be fun. All right, and so that's coming up. And then the other thing is, when I'm finished here, we're going to do another song, Super Wonderful. We've been doing the song once in a while. I hope you're learning it. And next week, we are going to talk about two guys, Joshua and Caleb. And they're in the Old Testament also. In fact, those guys basically come right after Moses. Okay, in fact, Joshua did some things. He did some things that Moses didn't get to do. So Joshua and Caleb. Okay, we'll see you next week, or we'll see you at VBS. All right, take care. Bye.